Hi, everybody. It's Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live number 98. And today we're going to talk about some singing tips for singing technique. We're going to talk about bubble lips. We're going to talk about tongue trill and the larynx, what all that has to do with each other. So, welcome. We're starting right on the top of the hour today, and I just want to welcome you here and appreciate your joining me today. This topic, although sounds rather simple, is quite profound in a lot of different ways. So, I mean, the big question is, does bubble lips, tongue trills, and the larynx have anything to do with making me a good singer? I don't know. What do you think? Hey, George, nice to see you. And Mike, hey, Mike, nice to have you with us today too. So, I'm just gonna pull up my other picture here, so make sure I'm in the picture. And all right, so just give me a high. Let me know that you can hear me and see me okay. That way, I know I've pushed all the right buttons. So we have someone new with us today. Love music. Good to see you. Love music. Thanks for joining us today. At least I don't recognize your avatar there, so I don't know if you've been with us before, but awesome to have you here today. Need some assistance? Okay, we might be able to help you with that. Well, it depends on, I guess, what you need. Hazel, Marcus, Athena, Ashford. Hi, nice to have you with us here, all three of you. And you helped me so much with singing. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And welcome today, and glad you could join us. So this is it's actually a question I got this week, and but before we start, let me just note: do you ever use bubble lips? Do you ever use bubble lips when you're doing vocal practice or practicing vocal technique? Do you ever do the or the tongue trill? That's with the tongue's fluttering inside. Um, Ever do those? Let me know in the comments below. Just yes or no, I use them. And what do you think? Does it help with your singing? If you're using them in practice, does it help with your singing? You know, there's not a lot of songs with the lyrics. Maybe one of you should write a song with the lyrics of. That'd be pretty fun. Okay. Adrian in the middle. Hi, nice to have you here with us, Adrian. And thank you, Mike. Thanks for letting me know if you can hear me and see me. So I appreciate it very much. And love music. Yes, I'm new. Awesome. Uh, Umair from Pakistan. Awesome, Umair. Nice to have you here with us today. Thank you for joining us. I learned some singing tips from you. Okay, well, thank you, Umair. That's so amazing, you know, that because of the internet, we can actually communicate from around the world. So I'm glad that you found some help with what we've been talking about the last number of years on this channel. Um, Adrian says she uses both the tongue trill and the bubble lips. And I concur with Adrian. I use them both also. George says, last night we did a chorus rehearsal. Yeah, you know, I had never even heard of bubble lips. I'd never even seen bubble lips until I was 43 years old and I attended a live vocal workshop with Seth Riggs just 5 minutes away from my home. He came to the high school near our home. And that was back in 1996, in the fall of 96. And so that's some time ago now, well, almost 22 years. It was in, I think, November of 96. And that was the first time I'd been exposed to it. And I had quite an experience with that bubble lip. You know, when I did that, do it on, I learned it on the 1.5 scale, and I went up with that bubble up. Well, it went up, but I didn't crack, and I didn't strain, and I didn't break. And that was brand new to me. I had never experienced anything like that before. And that was like, that really took me by surprise. Truly, I knew I was vocalizing, but I knew I hadn't broke. So right off the bat, it got my attention. And that's like the first thing we did. All of us just stood up and did this crazy, weird sounding exercise. So let me say hi to Peyton Fit. Love your channel. Thank you. And great to have you here. It's so nice to have you join us even for the first time, Peyton Fit. So you've got like 3 things there: pay, ton, and fit. So, but I'm going with Peyton Fit. Anyway, so let's kind of dive into this. It seems very simple, but I feel like these exercises may be of the most profound that that I have taught, or that I've learned, and that I have experienced with my voice. And they're probably profound because they are so simple, and because they are they seem so unimportant in a way, right? Because they're not really singing. They're not really singing exercises, but yet they are. In other words, we're not saying, oh, I mean, we're not doing things that we do in songs. Like I say, one of you ought to write a song with bubble lips or tongue trill in it. Okay, so, well, I'm glad to know that some of you do the bubble lips. Maybe some of you haven't ever experienced this. And so, to make it a little bit simpler, for the guys, it would be. And so you put your fingers here. Well, I was shown this recently. I think this works pretty good. Do a frown. And put your finger right where the frown goes down. And lift up. It usually works pretty well. And then you're saying, because the voice is at rest with, and so while you're saying, put that with it. And then add it to this tune, or ladies up here. Ladies, yours would be, so fingers right here below your mouth on the frown line, lift up. And then you go up a half step. And you keep climbing all the way up to, or the men, they climb all the way up. So that's the bubble lip with that kind of that feeling. Now, maybe you've never tried to do the tongue trill. Some people can't do it, or haven't learned to do it. Now, it seems like it's almost genetic. I don't think, strictly speaking, it is genetic, but there may be some genetic disposition to be able to do it easily or not. All my life, I think I've been able to, I don't remember a time that I couldn't say arriba. So it's the same thing. I mean, the same scale, the same notes. And the same thing for the ladies. And you go up to the same scale. Now, that's a simpler version of it. A more complex scale might be this. Or the ladies would start. Let me just stop. If you haven't done it, try it. Now, let me just say hello to a comment here from, let me just see, anybody that joined us new. Okay, so let me just take this comment. Love music. I exercise a lot for breath control, but when I go to sing a song, I got confused whether to breathe or to sing the song. Yeah, you know, it's singing, it's a lot like speaking, but when it comes to breathing, it's a little bit different, isn't it? We don't hold out our speaking voice like we do when we sing. So right away it's different. We have the hold the notes, and so we use more air. So it's quite a bit different, isn't it? Adrian's in the middle says, I can't do it without fingers at all. You know what, Adrian, when I have a beard, I mean a regular, this is just a goatee, very short. The hair below my lower lip causes my bubbles to stop. I've discovered that last year. I knew it had happened, but I didn't know why. I thought it was because of everything around my mouth, but just this lower thing here. And so I really do have to. So another way to find your jawline here, and then lift up. That's a really good way to do it too. Or in my case, when I have this beard, I really have to dig in with my knuckle. I take my knuckles and I lift up, and I'm pretty aggressive. And between those three, usually I can get it to work. Okay, so why bubble lips? What's the big deal with bubble lips? And or the tongue trill. And before I cover this first major segment here, let me add a variation on the tongue trill. So those of you who can do the tongue trill, just put your lips together and blow air through. Now do the bubble lip, but blow air through your lips. This is another variation, and I really like this one. See, I'm doing the tongue trill, but I'm closing my lips over it. And it creates something called a triple resistor. Now that's a term that I've heard Seth Riggs explain, so I think it probably came from him originally, and that is the air is being resisted in three places with that. With the tongue trill, normally just two resistances, and with this air, a double resistor of air also. So let's talk about the resisting of air with the bubble lip and the tongue trill, and what that means. So the air coming from the lungs reaches the vocal cords right behind the larynx, right behind the Adam's apple, and the air is being resisted by the vocal cords, the vocal folds. And so as the air comes up, it interacts with those vocal cords, and so there's air being resisted. That's what creates the sound waves as the air passes through. That's the first resistance. The second resistance is here, the lips. So we get a resistance of air here, resistance of air here. The same thing is true with the standard tongue trill. Resisting air here and resisting air at the trill of the tongue. Now the addition of the lips with that last one, the tongue trill. Now we've got three resistances. The air is being resisted by three things: the vocal cords, the tongue, and the lips. With each resistance of air, there's some back pressure back down to the vocal cords, which also is, which is in the larynx. And so you get this back pressure on the larynx, and guess what that does? It holds the larynx down, or in some cases can like impose the larynx down. And so these are very, very effective, all three of these exercises, because they tend to keep the larynx down. They tend to keep the larynx down where we speak, keeps our larynx down at our speech level. And so that the triple resistor adds another layer of resistance or back pressure, which provides the back pressure to the larynx. So it's really, really effective in a number of different things. I have found it to be very good if I wake up really, really scratchy. I've had a bad night's sleep, or I've got some reflux going, or whatever, to use that tongue trill with my lips over. So let me just jump in here and see if there's anything that I need to address. Before I do, you've heard about the singer who had the automobile and had windshield wipers installed inside the car. Does anybody know why they would have done that? Just a joke. I thought it was really funny. I think I've told that once before. Anyway, get your windshield wipers installed, because this is a great way to pass the time when you're driving someplace to do the exercises. Now, you've got to be able to do them. Who was it? Was it Adrian said he can't do it without the fingers? So you either dry one hand and do it with one hand, or that's where the tongue trill comes in, really handy. And we're in special need, when you really need some extra help keeping the larynx down, or maybe getting over some reflux, or some, you've got a cold, or the cords are a little swollen, then this triple resistor is just awesome. Or you do that for about 7 or 8 minutes, and your voice feels, it really feels good. So anyway, Mike says, I have to moisten my lips almost every time. And that's really kind of a good tip, you guys. If things slow down, wet your lips with your tongue. Adrian said, I do this very same scales almost every day before singing any song. And I found it to be an awesome, that's another thing that I haven't talked about here. Actually, what is a couple other things that's actually happening when you do these exercises. It is a great warm-up, isn't it? In addition to the warm-up, immediately it balances the air from the lungs with the vocal cords and with the tongue. Let's just do it with bubble lips. Air and vocal cords are working really well in balance, just in great synchronization. And then it has to be balanced to have a steady flow of air in order for the lips to continue to flutter, to bubble. If something is too tight, too squeezed, the larynx is too high, there's too much tension or whatever, then this usually will break down. And this is another point I want to make. You don't want to do it fast and tight. like a motorboat, or something it's just too fast. You want them slow, lips though, not not tight. Everything's nice and floppy. We're lifting our cheeks to take the weight of our cheeks off of the lips so that they can just flutter softly, easily. So the other issue is here. So there's three things at least three things, and I know there are more, that this exercise provides, these exercises. Number one, it's a great warm-up. It really gets the vocal cords ready to go. Number two, it does tend to balance the air and the muscle here at the vocal cords, as well as the airflow coming out of the mouth. So everything kind of just falls into a balance, and that it's a great place to get ready with which to sing, from that feeling of the balance of air and muscle and little tension, just the right compression. And the third thing is it tends to keep the larynx down. Why? Because of the back pressure from the resistance of the air, sending that back pressure down, holds the larynx down, or you can even oppose it. Now, let me look at a couple other comments here. So, Adrian in the middle says, I remember when it was hard for me to do the R exercise, but now I can do it easily. Great, Adrian. Curious, was there anything that you could recall that you did that made the R easier for you? Because every once in a while I have a student who wants me to teach them that, and I don't have a really good way to do that. I'll touch on that maybe in a minute a little bit more. I haven't done it with I don't think I can. Yeah, you might want to just try that combo, you guys, and see if you can do anything with the because I think it's an awesome exercise. Okay, Adrian, in the middle, that's give you something to challenge you there with. Okay. Hey, Abby, nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us. So we're talking about singing technique tips today, and the bubble lips and tongue trill is interrelated with the larynx. And as I just mentioned, one byproduct of this exercise, not only is it a good warm-up, not only does it tend to balance the voice, but it tends to keep the larynx down also. So Adrian said, I don't remember actually when it started to work for me with the art, but I think it was all about the practice. Okay. Yeah, so I think maybe some people don't even know they can do it. Now, one thing it is not, let me just kind of give you a little bit of a heads up or warning here. It is not the uvula in the back. Some people can just let that thing, it kind of sound similar. And they can make that thing kind of make the same sound. It's not that at all. I don't recommend that. It's right up here at the tip of the tongue. Okay, so now here's some byproduct of this exercise. That is some other benefits that occur as a result of doing the tongue trill or the bubble lip or the triple resistor. And that is, it does tend to connect the tone. And primarily, one of the main reasons why is because it's keeping the larynx down. So, in other words, there's an even tone from chest all the way through the bridge, up into head voice, and back down again. I mean, just speaking right now, I can start to feel the positive effects of this tongue trill. So that is one of the primary reasons why. In fact, I teach the tongue trill and the bubble lips and that triple resistor with the idea that we keep the tone connected. In other words, we don't get this we don't have it break in the middle. That's one of the purposes, one of the byproduct, very positive byproducts of this exercise. We should feel that even tone connected all the way up and all the way back down again. This is extremely powerful, especially if in the past we haven't been able to do that, as I couldn't do when I first started out. I would disconnect or I would stop. I wouldn't even go any higher than the E above middle C. But immediately it gives you the ability to do that. The other thing it does is it creates a new muscle memory. Because what have you done in the past to go from chest to head? You know, we tend to pull our chest voice up, or we tend to we tend to break in the falsetto, or we tend to go really, really breathy because we can't get through that bridge. But this is a great exercise to take you from chest through the bridge into your head voice. Ladies, you'd be about here. That would take you, for most of you, through your first, well, all of you, essentially through your first bridge. Takes you through the C sharp, starting at the F sharp. So, with that bubble lip, being able to start to do that exercise without having a crack or a break, with the larynx staying at your speech level where you talk, it's such a powerful thing, because you're creating a new muscle memory. All of a sudden, that was the thing for me. It was new. I'd never felt it before, and it's almost startled me just to realize that I'd just gone up there and back down, and I didn't squeeze it. I didn't grab it. And that's another thing it does. It tends to relax the tension. It tends to reduce the tension. So we get connected tone, we get new muscle memory. What are we memorizing? That feeling of that resonance, the vibration moving up, moving back down without this grabbing, and without the tone disconnecting. So it's tremendously powerful. Okay, let me take any other comments here. Okay. Ink says, hey Chuck, what do tongue trolls do that lip bubbles don't? I'll tell you what, Ink, when we get done with this today, listen back. I described one of the things you can do with this tongue trill. You can close your lips over and get another resistance, and it's going to help keep the larynx down even more. I'll go review the video today, and it'll explain a little bit more. But generally speaking, I think the lip bubble, most of the time, now I've got a couple students that this is not true, but most of the time the lips you can actually go a little higher than you can with the lip bubble. So I think it was about the F. I've gone up to the high C6 about once, but I had to squeeze it. I'll talk about squeezing in a minute. But I think fundamentally, Ink, if you do the tongue trill and it stops, the tongue stops fluttering, then it's probably because you're manipulating the tongue to make a pitch, and so the tongue stops. If it just shuts down. And so that's something that we want to eliminate. So the tongue trill helps reveal some things that you might be doing that you don't want to do. One of the which is that you're stiffening the tongue or manipulating the tongue to try and reach a pitch. We don't want to do that, and that reveals that right away. So you've got to concentrate and say, okay, I'm just going to adjust. I'm just going to let the tongue, see, the tongue is not the pitch maker. The chord structure, the vocal cords, are what creates the pitch. The tongue is the enunciator. It's what helps creates the words and helps form the resonant chamber and so forth. So this thing just flutters freely without grabbing anything to try and make a pitch or create a pitch. If you find doing it, you say, and it gets, jammed up. Then you've got to think that thing through. But it's very possible that you're starting to grab it so that you can help create the pitch or reach the pitch, and that's a no-no. So it's a way that you can eliminate unwanted tension, and it reveals itself really quickly with that tongue trill. They don't quite get the same thing here. Adrian in the middle, I was about to ask the same question. Okay, there you go. I am trying to extend the mixed voice to cover the mid-range to an F I used to bridge earlier. Any recommendation? Trying to extend the mixed voice to cover the mid-range to a F. I see. Well, Adrian, it's always okay to bring mix down. It's not okay to bring chest up. So we can bring mix down, and it will solidify that E, F, F sharp. For this, I'm talking about for the women. A lot of times for the ladies, that E, F, F sharp, G, A flat area is a little bit uncertain. Why? Because a lot of ladies can sing chest, or they can bring head voice down and just use head voice there too. But sometimes that's too light, and much of the time and sometimes the chest is too heavy. So for the contralto especially, who bridges earlier, the contralto voice bridges the E, F, F sharp. It's really important to be able to mix in that area. So the recommendation I have, Adrian, is just take your exercises down to at least the E or the E flat 4. That's the E flat above middle C. Bring that same, bring your bridging, do the exercises you're doing in A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, and just keep bringing those down with you and maintain the same coordination. Don't let it go in the chest. Keep doing it in that mixed voice, that mixed feel. Just keep doing it lower and lower and lower until like maybe the D above middle C, if you can bring it that low, or maybe even the middle C. How far down can you bring it? And that's what I do. I've done that. I do that with my own voice when I want to bring the mix down, and I do that with my students. So if you were saying I'm going to keep bringing the mix down. I'm not going to say no, 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 no. I'm not going to let go in the chest. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. And so for guys or girls, you can practice bringing that mixed coordination down. Just because you're in chest, ladies, you don't have to go in the chest. Keep doing it with that upper feeling. Bring the upper feeling down with you. That's one way to build that area there and bring that and bring your mix down. And it really smooths out your bridge on your way up because you're already in it by the time you get there. Voiceover, hey, nice to have you with us. We've got a lot of new people here today, and even a Rose there. Thank you. Mike says, yeah, I do have trouble doing tongue trills on higher notes. Yeah, just kind of watch that, Mike, and see if you think maybe it's because you're grabbing it because you want to help make a pitch. It's the chord structure, it's the vocal cords themselves that are the pitch makers, not the tongue. It's the enunciator. Just use it for vowels, consonants. Abby asked, do you know how to do whistle notes? You know, I don't. I can like inhale and create that whistle tone. Um, I don't use that a lot. It's kind of an embellishment of of the house, and I've spent most of my time, Abby, just getting everybody's house built really well, and not a lot of time working on the decorations yet. So it's kind of a um, I think it's a great embellishment and something interesting and cool. I saw somebody on YouTube. The girl was like crazy. She sang the whole song in like this whistle voice. So it's kind of a I don't know how would you describe it? I can't think of the word, but um, so is it really necessary? I think there are like hundreds of thousands of singers through the years who've really brilliant singers and made cajillions of dollars and so forth that couldn't do whistle tone. So I don't think it's something that if you can't do it, then you ought to hang it up. Fortunately, I think it's one of the minor things, but it's kind of an interesting little sideshow in the voice, so to speak. Mariah, yeah, right. Adrian in the middle said that I can't really produce the whistle voice. It kind of hurts when I do it for a while. So yeah, I really wouldn't. I It's more of an embellishment than something that is going to take you someplace, in my opinion. Okay, now just let me kind of get down to this final couple concepts here. Let me ask yourself, which do you prefer? The bubble lip or the tongue trill, or can anybody do that triple resistor that I've shown you? Is there one that you kind of like is your your go-to? I use them all three, frankly. So if I were to have to live without one, I love the tongue. I love being able to do the tongue trill. But as far as a teacher is concerned, I really have to have the bubble lip. I really want the bubble lip. I can have a student do without the tongue trill, but I really, as a teacher, want the bubble lip. As a singer, I love being able to do that triple resistor. You could even do that in the crowd. Nobody really notices what's going on. So it's really a way to warm up and nobody even sees you or notices it. I don't know. What about you guys? Okay. Now I had a question this week from a student or from a YouTube question comment. I'm guessing he's a subscriber. He said, like on the bubble lip, I find that making sure the larynx is low, like that really helps me connect the tone. On the other hand, on the tongue trill, he said, trying to keep the larynx keeps the larynx down, makes it worse. I can go very high on the tongue trill if I allow my larynx to do whatever it wants, which is to rise. Can you shed some light on this? I'm sure there's some scientists out there that explain the reasons why. I have a feeling it's the action of the tongue, and the root of the tongue kind of reaches down into the throat, and I think it's, as I manipulate the tongue up and down the back, if I raise it to the top of the throat, to the top of my palate, and pull it back down, raise it up and pull it back down, if I just move my tongue in and out, I can feel the larynx moving up and down. So the musculature is really interconnected with the tongue and the larynx. And so I think that it's one reason why it's hard to go higher with the tongue trill for most students and me than it is the bubble lip. The bubble lips, I don't have anything going on with the tongue at all. So, Suryan Deshpande, I think it's the action of the tongue that makes it harder to keep the larynx down as you go up higher. Now, he is saying that as the tongue trill, if he lets his larynx go up, then he can stay connected the tongue trill. So this brings me to my kind of like my final little analysis here. Listen to the difference between this tongue trill, or even the vocal. I'll just do it on bubble lips because I can do the same thing. Now, I used to ask the question, which is right? Is there a right way and a wrong way to do the larynx or do the tongue trill, okay, or the bubble lip? Same thing is true with that. It's harder for me to do that with that, but the contrasting approach is to do it with a little bit of a dopey sound. So on the one, I'm kind of pinching it a little bit. I'm kind of pinching it, and the larynx is going up. On the other, I'm imposing it down while I do the exercise. So I'm practicing with the bubble lips and with that dopey sound to keep the larynx down, but there's not nearly as much tension. The resonance or the vibration is still going well up into. That's not that high, I guess. Oh yeah, I took that last fourth. So if I said this is to the high G. There was a little bit of a punch there. I kind of hit that a little hard. But overall, I would recommend that we try not to squeeze it with that pinch sound. I can go pretty high with that. Whoa, wow, I think I just sprang my larynx up. That was like the IB5. And when I was younger, like 20 years ago, I could pinch it and get up there. And I could probably, if I practiced it, but I don't really want to do that. You see, so I don't recommend that because we're sending the larynx up just to hit and everything's kind of squeezed and tight. I would recommend that you stay with that larynx down where we speak. If I worked at it, I could probably get it up there, but I lost it at that time. I started to kind of pinch a little bit. So if someone says, well, which is right? I would say do it, keep the larynx down. And if you have to sacrifice, if you have to pinch it to keep it connected with the tongue trill, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. I would say stay with what is going to keep the tension out and keep the tongue connected and the larynx down. Those are the things that are going to really benefit you. All right, Adrian says I can't really produce the whistle voice. It hurts. Yeah. I'm getting a good laryngeal workout today. Just started the triple this week. Awesome. How do I get rid of tension when I do that? How do you get rid of tension when you do the tongue trill? You know, Abby, I think probably practice. I think for sure it's the airflow. If I put my tongue, if I start the tongue trill with my tongue on the roof of my mouth, it's not touching my front teeth, it's back further. It's like a quarter, it's not halfway back, maybe 20% back or 15% behind the teeth, and I just let it just touch the tip of my tongue, touch very lightly the top of the roof of my mouth, and just blow air like a little kitten purring, and then add the voice to it. But keep that air moving so that the tongue continues to flutter and the voice, you know, and keep the voice going at the same time. And just some practice, I think you'll find out that you can smooth that out quite a bit. It's usually when we have to do it really hard that there's a lot of tension. So try and relax the tongue. Do it softly, just like a purr. Blow that tongue with air. So it's like the air is going past. You know, I haven't even, I don't know if I could even show it this. You can see the edge of the paper going like this. That's all you're doing, is you're just blowing that air over the top of the tongue and kind of around the sides of it. And that'll get it fluttering. So it's the airflow. Don't get lightheaded. Okay. Armando Salas. Hi, Armando. Nice to have you here. I love your advice and content. I teach saxophone, other woodwind instruments, and have recently begun adding a vocal exercise when teaching. Hey, awesome, Armando. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. I wish I was an instrumentalist. So congratulations to you for expanding your repertoire as a musician. Adrian, in the middle, I don't feel any tension during the tongue trill. This is easy as other exercise. Awesome. Me too. I'm pretty relaxed with it. When I close my lips, there's more tension, but it's back pressure. You know, it's creating the backward flow down on the larynx. It's not really tension, it's just interference. I'm feeling the interference with my lips in that air. That was high. Oh, yeah. Do I feel any tension? The tongue trill. Okay. So, really hard for Abby. Abby, don't push it. Just relax. You know, visit it once a day for just a minute or two. Over a period of time, I think you'll find that it's going to come. Just make sure everything's as relaxed and easy as you can be. The purr So I think the purr is, you know, because we don't have to have, when we do the exercise, yes, we want the voice, but just to get it started, it's very relaxed. I'm not doing any tension, any pressure. All right, so let me just wrap this up by saying, you know, keeping the larynx at speech level is a very, very tremendously positive benefit of this exercise. And so what is it that you tend to do? Some of you are new today. Do you know whether you tend to have a high larynx as you sing higher? Now this is one of the vocal types. So do you know your vocal type? If you don't know your vocal type, then I want to recommend that you go to powertosing.com. That's the home base. powertosing.com. There's a vocal test right there. Take the vocal test. It's called the power test because it's power to sing, right? So take the power test, complete the quiz. You could send me the results or take the quiz, take the test, and you'll get back an algorithm that you can quickly add up the points and determine your vocal type. It'll either be full chest, high larynx, flip, falsetto, light chest, no chest, or mix. Those are the 4 types. And that will enable you to do exercises then like these, like the exercises we've talked about today, that are going to get your voice in a position where you can start eliminating the weaknesses and building the strengths. So powertosing.com, and to save you some time, in the description below, there's a PDF. You can download it. It's got links to all of that stuff I just told you. There's links to exercises you can download that are free, that are for your vocal type. So look in the description below. Get your vocal type is the name of the PDF, and it's got links. You can just click on those. It'll take you to the power test, take you to videos about the vocal type. You learn all about your vocal type, and then exercises you can download and practice. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up. We'll just finish up with patent fit. How much time should you devote to warm-ups before you sing? Peyton, I don't warm up a long time. For me, I feel like my voice, if I do about 15-20 minutes max, then I feel like it gets my voice ready. Now, how close to when I sing has more influence on me than how long I practice or warm up. So for me, about 15 minutes, about 45 minutes to an hour before I sing. Then my voice is feeling pretty good. It takes that long for me, for like the blood flow to be there, the moisture to come to the vocal folds themselves. So that's me personally. You kind of have to experiment with that because I don't think it's the same for everybody. But for me, 45 minutes to an hour before I start singing is the ideal time before, and then maybe 15 minutes of warm-up, maybe 20. So see what that does for you. See what you think. Take an ENT. Can you do the tongue trill through second passaggio to smooth out the mixed range? Yeah, sure. So for a guy, so if I started on the, let me see, to go through my second. Well, this would take me through the first, this would take me through my first, my second, and my third. And that's going to help all 3 of the bridges, all 3 besides the first, the second, and the third bridge for me. And ladies do the same thing. If they started up here, they take them through their first and second. For the contraltos, first, second, and third. So it's a great exercise to use for exactly that, passing through those bridges without it grabbing, without it tensing up, so that you're relaxed and you're able to allow the vibration to transition through the different passagios, and that will help smooth things out. The first passaggio is your critical one. Adrian in the middle said, how do you work the lowest notes to extend the bass register? I think you'll find the biggest impact will be keeping the larynx down. That has helped me multiple times, where I found that if I oversing, if I sing too loud, sing too hard, I'm in the ensemble in a show, and my larynx starts coming up, then when I have a low note, then I'm supposed to hit a low E or something. Now, today, I've been almost to the high C, and I have the low E, and it's in the middle of the afternoon. So that's because, now if I were doing high larynx exercises and everything was kind of up a little bit high right now, the low notes are not available. you know, it's hard for me to hit them, and I've had that happen in shows. So the best thing you can do is keep the larynx down in your exercises, and that will give you more access to your bottom notes. I have a student coming in 5 minutes. I got to wrap this up. George says he warms up 15 to 30 minutes, and great. All right, everybody. Love and appreciate you for being here today. Thanks for joining us. It's just, you know, can you believe talking an hour about and but they merit that, don't they? They can really make a difference. So I hope this has been helpful, and that you can use these things to do your warm-ups, to get balance in your voice, to connect the tone, to get rid of tension, and other good things in your, you know, in your singing, and a benefit to you as a singer. So I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live number 98. Thank you for joining us today. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. And I'll see you inside the next video. Thanks.